I've been to New Zealand, you know. I was in the Gold Coast the other day, and Australia's been fighting with all its problems very bravely. Seems like you've gone from fires to tempests to flooding. But I've never been to New Zealand, so that would be an interesting one for me. An Australian called Keith Miller. I met him when I was a kid, and he was the most phenomenal cricketer, all-rounder. He was somewhat of a maverick. He was pretty well uncontrollable. Donald Bradman couldn't control him. This does date me a bit, but if you ever look him up, he was a fighter pilot in the war and fought very bravely. And there's the famous story about him that he was trying to play. He wasn't a natural night watchman. He was a great stroke player, a fast bowler off a short run. And some big old fat MCC man was sitting there at tea time, and he's coming in trying to save the innings for Australia. And he said, "Feeling the pressure, Miller?" He said, "Pressure? Pressure's a Messerschmitt up your arse at 300 feet. That's pressure." I'd probably like to have been an opera singer, but I didn't have a good enough voice, I don't think. But your job on race days is to see the horses happy and content and as relaxed as possible, the staff around the horse and the jockey. So I think if you start bringing in the superstitions, it's not a good thing. Probably don't want to see one magpie on the way into the track, but that's about it. Theatre, skiing, art galleries. I love going around museums and opera. With a sense of relief, with enough pals around in the evening, with a lot of elation. You need to enjoy things with people. In isolation, it's a bore. I don't know. Someone said I look like Ernie Els. That's a golfer, I don't know. Not that I'm aware of. I've dug most of them up and used them. I think Longchamp in Paris in autumn, in the middle of the most beautiful city, stands out. Santa Anita against the San Gabriel Mountains. Del Mar by the sea, they're ones I love. York and the Knavesmire. Ascot and the Heath. Yeah, there's a lot of wonderful racecourses. Goodwood on the Sussex Downs, which I know so well, having been brought up there. There are a lot of very beautiful racecourses. I'm hopeless. Pasta is about as far as I go. You know, the problem with cooking, it's a little bit like training the horse. You spend a lot of time thinking about it. You go out, you buy, you get the ingredients together, you prepare it, and you do everything right. There's 3 hours work, and someone rushes in and just eats it in 2 minutes flat and runs out the door. That is a poor reward to work ratio. I always say it's a bit like putting a jockey up, you know, sometimes. Bred the horse, developed it, brought it along, broken it in, 2 years training, you put it up, and as Charlie Whitting, my old friend, said, then you put a guy up with a size 4 hat and he messes it up in a minute and a half. A bit like cooking. Probably one man right now save a country, Nelson Mandela. Leave it at that.